All right. Welcome in, everybody. The Gentleman's Code, episode 16. Today is November 27th, the day before Thanksgiving. So if you're watching this on Thanksgiving with your family, I know it's going to be a hot podcast to listen to with the fam at Thanksgiving. No controversy. But welcome in. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there that has been following the show. All the gentlemen we've been working with. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Appreciate you guys being here. But we got a pretty packed schedule for today. We kind of were talking through some ideas before we went live here. So we're going to touch on a couple of topics: Elon Musk, blockchain technologies, and we'll go pretty in depth with that. But before we get started, I know Priamo is a big Saratoga water guy, right? But I want to put him on to something maybe he hasn't heard of, something that's been around since 1888. It's called the Joel and Steer German sparkling mineral water. This thing has been through World War I, World War II with the Nazis, and is still around to this day. So it's been around for over 150 years. I tried it for the first time a couple months ago, and when it first hit my lips, I was like, whoa, that's different. It's like sparkling water. You know, sparkling water is bubbly. It has those bubbles, the carbonation in it. But this is like, the bubbles are so fine. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. You have to see if you have this near you and just try it and let me know what you think. It's super, super fine carbonation.
And people might be thinking right now, oh, how can you tell the difference between the bubbles on each brand? Now, listen, if you're a sparkling water connoisseur, you can tell the difference in carbonation, the way that it smacks the lips, the way that it bubbles in your mouth. And for those people that are thinking right now, oh, sparkling water, I don't drink sparkling water. Well, one of two things: you're either too poor to afford it, or if you can't afford it and you don't drink it, then you're a coward. What, you're gonna let bubbles in your stomach defeat you? Oh, I can't drink sparkling water. But that's actually insane. I've never seen that. Gerald Steiner. What the hell was it?
Gerald Steiner. I looked into the history of it. I was trying to see if they had ties to the Nazi party, just because of the logo here was kind of giving me like Nazi-ish vibes.
That's the first thing I thought when you showed me that. I'm like, is that swastika on the bottle?
So I was looking into it, and it looks like they kind of like scrubbed that part of history out of their company. But it did say that their factory got destroyed by an Allied bombing in World War II, and then they had to rebuild in 1448. So they've been around for a while. They started shipping to the United States in the 1800s. So they've been an international brand for a while.
Fantastic. I'm definitely gonna try it because I haven't had it. I've been strictly a Saratoga / Pellegrino guy for the last 3-4 years. I've dabbled in other realms of sparkling water, but I always come back to my Pellegrino. I mean, Pellegrino, of course, because Italian, so naturally. And then Saratoga is just the classic.
Yeah.
Toga, when you got your fridge lined up with Toga for days, I mean, that's the best feeling. You come in, open up the fridge, boom, bottle of Toga. I'm not sitting here sipping that tap water, giving myself fucking estrogen, shots of estrogen and fluoride in my city water. Other like you feminize other men drinking your tap water. Gerald Steiner, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna try it. I will. I'm gonna come on to the next stream. I'm gonna have a banger Gerald Steiner with me. One other thing, too, before we go any further. This is the podcast that you definitely want to play at Thanksgiving whenever you got your purple-haired cousin, sat down next to you. You got your other cousin who's a little fruity. You want to throw something on after football. If you're not trying to waste your time watching these guys play football, throw on the Gentleman's Code. Have them listen to us. They'll love it. I mean, this is a very purple hair friendly podcast for sure. So, but yeah, anyways, so the Taylor's Code, real quick, we'll plug this. If you're not inside the organization right now, look at the description. One of the first things linked in the description is the Taylor's Code. That's our organization, it's our network where we educate people on how to make money, crypto, sales, e-commerce, affiliate marketing, etc. Basically put together a network where, number one, you can make money, and number two, expand the people that expand your knowledge and be able to make money with us on a day-to-day basis. That's what the Taylor's Code is about. Anything you want to do real quick plug before we get started?
Yeah, just the Taylor's Code. Make sure you get in there, get into the community, see what we're working on the day-to-day, because you can see our notes, see our thoughts through different trades, different business ideas, everything we do there, and just being able to have that network. If you can't do everything yourself, which is impossible to build a business by yourself in today's age, you have people there that are by your side for questions and everything else. So you can check out the link in my description as well to get you in there.
Boom. Beautiful. So, first things first, right? We were looking at a couple things to talk about. You mentioned Elon. So, I was watching on X a live stream or a video that Kai Trump had put up. So, Trump's granddaughter. And she's doing really well. She's really starting to get herself out there, putting out content. She's done a couple of speeches at some different Trump events where I was actually impressed because she's young. I believe she's 17. And so the last video she had put out was them going to the SpaceX launch where Trump and a couple of other politicians and people had gone to watch them shoot up a couple of rockets. And when I was watching this video and you're hearing Elon talk about the rockets and explaining how it works to Trump and Kai and all these other people that are at this event, I couldn't help but think how all of a sudden Elon comes out and he supports Trump, and now he gets all this hate. All of a sudden, Elon's not that smart. All of a sudden, Elon doesn't know how to build rockets. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, all this hate comes out for Elon. When before he was supporting Trump, he's the best. He's so smart. He's green. He's making electric cars. The people on the left in California and everybody's like, "Oh, Elon, we love Elon. He's so great. He's so smart. He's so intelligent." All this praise. All of a sudden, he comes out for Trump. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I think about how hilariously stupid that is because one, he is incredibly intelligent. If you ever heard him talk on any kind of podcast for more than 1 hour, you understand he's highly intelligent. And number two, he's still doing all the same fantastic things he was doing in the past, but now because he has a different political opinion than you, he's not so great anymore. You don't want to support him. You want to take things away from him. You want to try to prevent the progress he's made for our civilization because of his political view. Now you want to hurt the human race by preventing him to progress in his businesses just because of what he thinks. How does that make any sense? It's just so
Yeah.
twisted how people think. Oh, he thinks differently than you now. Now let me just prevent him from doing all the fantastic things that he's doing. He's trying to make life multi-planetary, send people to Mars, and you want to try to prevent that because you disagree with him? Fucking
It's
fools.
crazy. And one thing about that, like you said, Kai Trump was there, Donald Trump was there, Ted Cruz, and all. I think even Bryson DeChambeau was there. So a bunch of like people went to go watch. And one thing I noticed about the whole interaction was how excited Elon was. Like he was so excited to have support from the president, the up and coming president, and the senator and governor of Texas, right? He was so excited to explain to them. I saw he was like in a classroom setting where he had the model and he's like, when it's coming down, it's like this. And then when it's going up. And so he was like actually explaining it to people. And he was so excited to show his work to people who would never were interested before. But now he has all the support and he's so excited and he wants to share it with everybody and wants to take humans to Mars, which is so
Right.
incredible. And for him to have that support is huge. And what you're alluding to in terms of California maybe not being on his side anymore is Gavin Newsom is proposing a new $7,500 tax credit to EV vehicles that are manufactured in California, except for Tesla, right? So every other company that is going to manufacture EVs in California is going to get a $7,500 tax credit for each purchase. Well, I think maybe one of the reasons why he didn't include Tesla is that Tesla has already been doing this. This is something that they thought of a couple years ago. So maybe it's to incentivize other companies to get up and going in California. But again, it doesn't make sense to punish Tesla, who has been the driving factor behind EVs in California, in Silicon Valley, and all these different places, right? Just because he moved to Texas now and he wants to manufacture his plants there. So
Right.
it's political games.
Yeah, and it's hilarious because Elon's a modern day hero. I believe that guy's a hero. I mean, think about what he's actually doing for society. Put aside his political beliefs and what he was trying to do recently with the election, et cetera, which he's still a hero for.
Yeah.
But think about what he's doing. He bought X so that you can have free speech on social media again. Okay, hero. He didn't have to do that. Financially, fiscally, it didn't make sense. He still did it because it was the right thing to do. Boom, hero. Sending people to other planets, to Mars. I saw a video of Neil deGrasse Tyson and the other goofy on his show, basically mocking Elon and how Elon sits in a room with a bunch of investors and says, "Well, here's how expensive it is to send people to Mars. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's how long it's going to take," and then they're going to laugh at him like, "Ha ha ha! That doesn't make any sense," and basically making fun of Elon. And Elon says, "Guy, the point isn't to just make this super profitable company that's going to be doing space travel, et cetera. Hey, eventually it'll get there. He said, but the point is to save civilization so that the people who are trying to start World War III right now by putting nuclear missiles and sending missiles into Russia right now, these imbeciles that are trying to start a nuclear war, it's to put us in a position where, well, if we do blow up this planet, hopefully there's at least people on Mars so we can continue the civilization. Like this guy's looking 50, 100, 200 years down the road, trying to expand literally expand not only the planets that we inhabit, but allow humanity to actually continue on for next generations. That's a hero. And you want to punish him? You want to take funding away from his companies? You want to put more lawsuits on him? Like, how nearsighted and short sighted do you have to be to think that way? Do you not understand what he's trying to do? Yeah, go ahead.
One of my favorite quotes of his is he goes, "What would the aliens think if they got here and they go, you guys can't even get off your own planet?" He's like, the aliens would be disappointed in us if we can't even go to the planet closest to us.
Right. So use your mind and expand and think a little bit. So these guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson and them, all of a sudden they want to talk shit on Elon, right? They understand what he's trying to do. That's the other thing too, is they're intelligent enough to understand what he's trying to do. It's just they're so caught up in the feelings of what he thinks or what he believes now that they want to start attacking him. This guy's a hero. Think about what he's doing with Neuralink. Okay, so he has another company, Neuralink, where they implant a chip into your head that's supposed to help you. The goal down the road is to make you more intelligent, basically merge us with artificial intelligence. But right now, what is Neuralink doing? This company he developed, it's helping people who are paralyzed, can't move their hands, can't move their feet, people who have cognitive deficiencies, etc. Implanting these Neuralinks in their heads so they can start to live a more normal life. They can use the Neuralink to think and then control a computer and do things on the screen and play video games. And they have a guy right now who was the first test subject that they talk about the Neuralink, and he talks about his experience with it, completely changing his life. So this is going to help people with mental deficiencies, with paralysis, with Parkinson's, with dementia, all these things that are plaguing the human race. He's helping fix that. Like this guy is for humanity. This guy is for helping people, and then we want to criticize him because what? What have you done to advance humanity? What the fuck did you invent? What groundbreaking technology did you develop? Who are you to speak poorly upon this man for what he's doing just because of the way he thinks? It's foolishness. Think about what he's doing for society, for humanity. You're looking at a modern day Nikola Tesla, a modern day uh, Albert Einstein. You're looking at a modern day hero, genius mind that's developing and pushing our civilization forward as opposed to taking us backwards.
And it's not even in terms of, like you said, making money. He doesn't care about making the money. He cares about making things that is going to last in American society for long after he's gone. And that's what we've seen with his Tesla push, right? Electric vehicles are going to be around forever now, like until at least our generation is past, right? Until they come up with a better technology down the road. But electric vehicles to be able to plug in and go whenever you need to. Space rockets that are reusable, that you could go up into space, come back down, land on a pad, refuel it with gas, and go back up again the next day. So these are all technologies, and you could talk about X, free speech, and PayPal with how he created that, right? So there's so many different aspects, from financial to space travel to modern day travel just in a car, that he's trying to make better for all the American people. Not even the American people, for the whole world people, right? So right. For the slander is outrageous, in my opinion as well.
Think about the fact that they asked Elon Trump. This is a famous clip of Trump asking Elon. He goes, "Who else can do that? Who else can catch the rockets and bring them back down to Earth?" He goes, "Just us." He goes, "Nobody else can do it. Not the U.S. government, not Russia. Nobody. No, just us." Think about that. Like, he's the only motherfucker that figured that out, right? And you want to try to take that away from him? The U.S. government, the most wealthy nation, the most powerful nation on the entire fucking planet, that has billions and billions and trillions of dollars that we can shit out of our ass and send it to wherever the fuck we feel like it. They couldn't figure out how to catch the rockets, but Elon could in his company. So is that a testament to who? Elon, or do you think it was luck, or do you think he just happened to find the right people, or like
Yeah, I
no?
mean, and the adversity he had to go through to get to this point where it's at today, like they were on the brink of bankruptcy multiple times, multiple rocket failures where the rocket went up, boom, in the sky. I'm like, oh shit, we got to restart. Like we got to do it all again, which was money out of his pocket. You think he wants to shell billions and billions of dollars at a time to get this working? But no, he knows that it's super important. For if the asteroid comes by a little too close one time and we get wiped off the planet, which could happen at a blink of an eye, we don't know. So
It's over.
as long as people are out there in space and we still have a chance for civilization.
Right. It's over. And he himself spent his very last dollars on Tesla and SpaceX when those companies were about to go bankrupt. He went broke essentially on his last couple of dollars he had. Well, not a couple of dollars, it was multi-millions of dollars, but he spent all of that on Tesla and SpaceX to try to save them whenever he did. And notice how the things that he's doing are all pro humanity too. He's not just starting businesses to extract value from a human and detriment them, like people who, extract value from people through sports gambling and casinos or through alcohol or through drugs, things that are detrimental to society to be able to extract value from those people and take money from them. No, everything he's doing is not for profit. Everything he's doing is to solve existential crises that he believes is going to prevent the human race from progressing. So what did he do? He thought there was an issue with green energy. They need more green energy. We need to go electric. Okay, he makes a company about electric cars. He thinks that we need to get off of this planet. Great, let me make a company about getting people onto fucking Mars. He there's a problem with people's cognitive abilities. Okay, let me go ahead and develop Neuralink. People that don't have access to the internet, people need help with the internet, people need more ability to be access to the internet across the world.
Starlink.
Okay, he's Starlink. Every company he starts is to solve a real problem to benefit the human race.
You know what's a good point too that just like reminded me of is that all his companies are kind of starting to interconnect, right? So it's like the Starlink satellites are in the sky swirling around, which get there from SpaceX rockets, right? And then the Teslas, they could run off of the internet from the satellites
Starlink.
that got up there. Yeah, Starlink runs that to Tesla. So all these are like starting to interconnect, and you'll be able to run your Tesla off the Starlink that got up there from SpaceX. So it's like all his companies are using each other and starting to be called this revolving door of technology. And another good point about being a benefit to society is with Tesla, what they're doing with the autopilot, right? He believes that the commute to work for some people is hours at a time, right? And for some people, they don't want to have to, it's draining for you to drive an hour to work all day, drive an hour home. So what did he invent? Autopilot, where it just drives you there. It's a little less stressful in the morning. You don't have to worry about swerving out of traffic. You could drink your coffee in peace. You could maybe even scroll on your phone while you're driving to work. So that's another thing that's a benefit to people who will get to work a little more refreshed, didn't have to like almost get in a car accident on the freeway. So there's all different types of things like that.
Mhm. Another reason why I mean, since you and me were in college, I remember we were for Elon, and I remember buying Tesla stocks back in
Hmm.
2016, 17, 18. I've been pro Elon. I love Elon. I think he's a fucking hero. So, regardless of what he thought, and that's whenever he was a Democrat, right? I don't care. He's just a fucking hero. And so the last point I want to make with Elon is I keep saying he's pro humanity. All of his businesses and all of ideas are for human beings as opposed to against two. So there's two different groups now that have developed in the world. There's the pro humanity people, and then there's the anti humanity people, right? Some people, everything they're for, everything they promote is death related, anti procreation, anti humanity. Everything's about depopulation. Everything's about preventing the human race from moving forward. Elon's the complete opposite of that. Everything he does is about more humans, about progressing the human race, about people being around. That's what I want. I'm for the human race. I'm for human beings. So how are you going to be against somebody that's for that, right? So you have to think about that. There's a death cult and then there's a life cult. Right now, the West is falling into a death cult. Everything is about less children, killing more children, not having babies, not progressing the human race. They don't care about humanity. They only
War.
care about themselves. War, killing more people, sending more bombs, sending more missiles, right? Everything's about death, 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 death. And people who are for God, people who are Christians understand that that's not the way to be. You should be pro humanity. You should be pro growing the civilization, pro more people. Why would you not want to have more human beings? People were worried about overpopulation or too many people, and that's why these Western civilizations are their civilizations are literally collapsing in real time because they don't have enough children to be able to sustain their population, which is fucking a crisis that people don't want to talk about. A crisis, right? And and they're worried about defunding Elon Tesla because they're worried about who he voted for, as opposed to not realizing that your fucking species is literally going extinct right now, and he's trying to help you.
So that's a good point, because a lot of people, and one of the main things you hear about why people don't want to have kids is, oh, it's expensive. I got to send them to college. It's like, well, you got 18 years to figure it out before they go to college. Like, kids are relatively cheap. They need a little bit of milk. They need some baby formula. You get them some little T-shirts from Target that cost $4, and they're good. They're kids. They walk around. They chew on little toys. Like, kids are cheap.
Put them on the teat.
Yeah.
Don't even buy the formula. Yeah. They ain't charging for the teat.
Yeah.
So
it's a lame excuse for people who are selfish and they don't want to have kids. And unfortunately there's a lot of people like that are more inclined about where they're going to travel, what they're going to do with their spare time. And you see that with Hollywood pushes that big, like, oh, you don't want kids? Just like, I saw the one Seth Rogen interview. He's like, oh, I don't want kids. I just want to lay in bed with my wife and smoke weed and watch television. It's like, what are you doing? Like, well, you're not making society any better by doing that.
great point. And I was going to say, you're going to leave behind no legacy. You're going to leave behind no impact on society. You're not going to have any children. Not thousands of generations of your bloodline stops with you because you want to smoke weed in bed all day. It's like, listen, player, you can do what you want for sure. Like, if you got enough money, I'm sure he's got a couple of bucks. Go for it. I'm not saying you shouldn't be allowed to do that, but you don't want to have kids. Again, his decision. But in my mind, if he had a kid, he'd probably be pretty happy he had a kid.
Everyone is. Everyone's always very subjective about it until they actually have it. And everyone always says your kids are your best gift. When you ask people in the street, like, what was the best day of your life? I'd say 75% of them say the day my son was born, the day my daughter was born, etc. Right? So why would you want to not ever live your best day of your life if you could? And I think it's very selfish for people that don't want to for that reason, like Seth Rogen just wants to sit around and smoke weed. But kids are relatively cheap, and they grow up to be humans, and they grew up to do great things and work at XYZ job, and they could even support you financially if you weren't able to support yourself. Some kids are very smart and they grow up to be millionaires, billionaires, whatever. So take the chance on that.
Yeah. And as a gentleman, right, the name of the podcast, as a gentleman, that's exactly what you should be trying to do, is enhance humanity as much as you can. And the best way to do that is to create another version of yourself, or hopefully a better version of yourself that you can go ahead and put out into the world and be a productive member of society. You should be having as many children as you humanly possibly can, right? That's my whole goal in life, is to become as successful financially, as successful mentally, spiritually, physically, that I possibly can be, to then have as many children as humanly possible. Because if I become such a fantastic version of myself, and I believe I can do so much good, and I can become so great at the things that I do, I should make as many carbon copies of myself as humanly possible. For sure. You think I'm not going to send out 10, 20 soldiers out into the world? If I can't, I will. 100% I will. I tell them, they think it's a joke, but I'll tell a girl 10 kids minimum. They're like, ha, okay.
I know.
No, yeah, 10. Oh, you can only do 5? Okay, well then I'm gonna have 2 wives then. Oh, what? If you're gonna do 5, I need a 5 from somebody else. If you're only gonna give me 5, I need another 5. So, but I'm being serious, because I want to have as many children as humanly possible. Because if I can develop fucking heroes, soldiers to send out into the real world, why wouldn't I do that? Because if they're going to be productive, good members of society, then I want to be able to provide as much life as humanly possible. And then think about all the good that they can do. And I give them the opportunity to live their lives. What better is it to then, what better thing can you do than give another human being the opportunity to live life?
That is the greatest gift, the gift of life, right? Even if we're here, I mean, everybody here was super lucky, right? Because your odds of being the sperm that got in the egg is like 1 in 1 billion, right? So your odds of even being here are insane. So to not want to live life, a lot of people are always down, oh, life sucks, this and that. Well, the gift of life itself is the greatest gift you'll ever get, because the only people that ever lived on this earth are the only people that ever experienced that, right? There's only about 8 billion people right now that are experiencing this life that we live, right? And we're on this rock, right? We talk about Elon SpaceX, like we're on this floating rock in the middle of nothingness, in the vast void of darkness. And we're living this insane life where we talk about finances and we talk about sparkling water and we talk about this stuff that doesn't inherently mean anything. But at the end of the day, it does to us because we're the ones that live it, So life is super interesting. And to be able to give life to more people is the greatest gift you could give.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And give them the opportunity to experience this life, and then give them the opportunity to believe in God, understand religion, understand what their purpose is as a human being, help other people live the best life that they possibly can. Like that's what it's all about, is progressing humanity. Why would we not want to progress humanity? So anybody that's for humanity, I'm for them. So motherfucker's a hero.
Elon.
Yeah, hero. Okay, so I know you said you want to talk a little bit about blockchain as well, and the technology and how it can benefit people as well in the crypto space, outside of just buying coins and making money off of them.
Yeah. So what a lot of people hear us talk about, obviously we talk about crypto markets and we talk about different coins that we like, but we never really dove into what the technology is of blockchain technology, right? For the people that don't understand, Bitcoin was the pioneer in this, right? So Bitcoin, you see all the transactions were on the blockchain ledger. What is the blockchain ledger? It's just basically a spreadsheet showing when someone buys in and they have a specific code. So you guys see when you buy a crypto coin and you go to SoulScan or whatever, it gives you this big long code, XYZ124878, right? And et cetera. It's a big long code. So what the blockchain ledger is basically just those transactions, where they go, what wallet they go to, what coin they went from, right? And it keeps a track. It's a database, and that's how Bitcoin was founded. So Bitcoin was a general ledger database, and how people would mine for Bitcoin is your blockchain would go through and it would try to solve a problem, right? It would go through how to make the network faster, and then boom, it spit out Bitcoin for you. So then your SoulScan tag, your blockchain, okay, your blockchain did this in the network and you got rewarded. So blockchain technology at its roots is basically just to see where things are going to and coming from. So what I wanted to talk about is what are some ways that we're going to see blockchain technology take over in the future. And I had a couple that I wrote down here. Mm-hmm. One is that I read about and that's already kind of being used is supply chain. So when you think about the biggest companies in the world, the Amazons, the Walmarts, these shipping companies that ship things across seas, right? So when you buy something off Amazon, right, it might be coming from a warehouse in India, a warehouse in China, but how do they actually get it to your door? It's a steps of, the warehouse sends it to the shipping company in China. The shipping company sends it to the boating company. The boating company sends it to the other boating company in California. The boating company in California sends it to UPS. UPS sends it to you. So there's a different chain reaction in which the supply chain is getting it to you. So what is the most secure way to know everybody is funded and everybody is timely in their orders and you could track it is a blockchain technology. So you're going to be able to see in the near future, which you already can see, but it's not on the blockchain yet. It's through different platforms like UPS and the shipping companies, right? So pretty soon you're going to be seeing these companies translate to a blockchain technology where they could see the transaction, what was paid, and then it's going to just feed down into you, and then eventually you're going to get paid. Another example that I saw was elections. A lot of people talk about election integrity and making sure that people who voted for one candidate, actually it's counted that way. So what is the easiest way to do that is to do it on the blockchain or a blockchain. It could be whichever one you want, Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever. And you go into the voting booth, you cast your vote, and it gives you back, a code. Okay, here's your code. It's in our ledger, and the ledger could be public, and then you go in, okay, here's my tag. Where's it at? Boom, it says I voted for Kamala Harris. There it is. Okay, great. Or I voted for Donald Trump, right? So then you have the security that say, okay, they counted my vote correctly. So those are two ways that I read online last night that blockchain technology is going to be used. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that or any other possibilities.
Yeah. So That's why Bitcoin was such a big deal for the people who understood what it was when it came out, was because that blockchain technology is revolutionary. It's the first thing, that's the first time it's ever happened that way. And so the point you're making about keeping a ledger and keeping all that public is what made it so revolutionary, because that information theoretically cannot be attacked. It can't be faked. It can't be hacked. It can't be, and it's public, so everybody can see it. So how do they do that? Well, the reason blockchain works is because there's nodes, these miner. Okay, so I give them a little bit more perspective. So for example, on Bitcoin, you hear about these Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin miners are people who basically do the computer processing on all the transactions that are happening on the blockchain. They're running these transactions, and then over time they mine a block for doing so many different transactions, and they get paid in Bitcoin. Okay. And so these miners, these people all across the world, they run nodes. Okay. So their nodes are computing transactions. And the reason the blockchain is so amazing is because what it requires is every node, every portion of the blockchain, everybody running these transactions has to agree upon the current blockchain, this current ledger of transactions that has built up over time. Every single node has to agree on the same exact blockchain. And if anybody doesn't agree, then their transaction gets spit back out as in, obviously as a fake transaction, whatever it may be. But everybody has to agree on the history and on the ledger. So if one node or one portion of that ledger is compromised, it doesn't affect the rest of the blockchain because there's already a consensus in terms of what's the reality, what's the real ledger, right? So you can't fake it. And so that's what you're saying about, helping with election integrity, or these blockchain issue, or not blockchain, supply chain issues that people want to improve on. It's so revolutionary because you can't fake it, right? If you do use it to make sure that election integrity is in place, it's going to be public, the ledger, so you can see the transactions, you can see all the votes. It's going to be private in the sense that you're not going to know who casted what vote, so it
Anonymous.
protects you. It's still anonymous, and it has to be a consensus. So now you don't have the human element of, I'm going to drop off, a million extra fake votes, or I'm not going to count this vote because it's not the candidate that I liked, or oh, I'm going to just all this bullshit, all this shenanigans that that happens in regular elections. It removes that, because on a blockchain, it's code. It's just math. It's code. You can't fake it. And there has to be a consensus on all the nodes on the entire blockchain in terms of what's happening. So it is revolutionary, and we should implement it as many things as humanly possible. And that's why it is getting adopted, because it is so good.
Yeah, and it's what we've seen it in recently is obviously the financial markets, which makes a lot of sense because people want integrity in their companies they're investing in. And that's why you're seeing the crypto market has gone insane over the past couple of years, is because people want that integrity in their finances, especially with the SEC and these big companies, right? Sometimes they could kind of push the numbers as an accountant. I know some companies kind of they fudge the numbers in one balance sheet account as opposed to an income statement account to make it look like maybe they made a little more money, or they didn't make as much money for tax purposes, right? So there's ways to kind of fudge a income statement or a balance sheet. But you can't fudge transactions. Like, okay, like Apple spent this money here, they received this money here. It's like if that's on the blockchain, you could see it and that's what it is, right? There's no changing it. And that's the good part about it, and that's why I think more companies are just going to start adopting this technology, because the SEC I think should start to bring it to these companies and make, hey, listen, if
Mm-hmm.
you guys want to do this type of transaction, do it on the blockchain so we could easily identify it and make sure that it's secure and make sure that it's legit.
And the very beauty of cryptocurrency is also what made governments initially afraid of it and try to ban it and try to stop it, because the safety, the genius of crypto is that it is decentralized. The fact that it's decentralized is what makes it safe, is what makes it fantastic. But then that's what also scared governments, because it is decentralized. It's not something that they can control. Okay. Now, over time, they've realized they're not going to be able to get rid of it because they literally can't control it. So, well, shit, we might as well adopt it and use it to our own benefit. And that's exactly what's happening right
Mm-hmm.
now. We're going through the adoption phase. But that decentralization is what makes it so safe, is because now one individual, one company is not able to determine or like you said, uh, manipulate the information, manipulate the numbers in order to benefit themselves. If it's not in agreement with the entire rest of the blockchain, you're not going to be able to get away with it. That's what makes it so fantastic. It's decentralized finance, decentralized exchanges, etc. You can now buy things, sell things, send information, etc. privately, anonymously, but forever etched into the cyberspace for all of eternity and never will be lost and never will be misconstrued or misinterpreted. That's the beauty of it, is the decentralization. Nobody can fuck with it, right? It's such a fan. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think just bringing it back to in terms of the finances, like with fraud and corruption, it's going to be more of an integrity thing of making sure that, like you said, like the government could spend wazoo money out the wazoo just here and there and there. But if we have the government's Bitcoin transactions in a ledger, you'd be like, okay, well, why'd you spend that money right there? Like, why that doesn't make sense. Nobody wants to do that. So it's just transparency and being able to do this and that is it's going to be incredible for the future.
You just made such a good point. That's right. So now you can actually track the government spending because you're going to see everything on the blockchain. Now, the Pentagon, which has never passed a fucking audit on their finances since they've been audited, which is bananas, which is fraudulent, which is fucked for the American people who are paying all these taxes, where all these government organizations failed audit. Oh, lost $500 billion. Oops, lost $2 billion. Oops, lost 600 million over here. Oop, lost this money over here. What do you mean you lost it? Where did it go? You didn't lose it. You spent it. You know where you couldn't keep track. But if an American citizen gets audited by the IRS, and I say to the IRS, "Oh, I don't know where that 3 million went. Sorry, what are you gonna do about it?" No, they'll throw me in fucking jail. So what the fuck is that? That's the type of shit that pisses me off, because the people who will enforce the rules on the American people, on the citizens, the good working class, the people who are trying to make it, throw you in jail. But when then they themselves are audited for the same reasons and the same purpose that you're audited, they fail it and it's all kick rocks. We lost $500 million. Sorry. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's our money.
Yeah, that's our money that we're giving to you.
And I think the problem with that in specific is these classifications, right? Like the CIA, it's like, oh, sorry, that's classified. We can't talk about it. And then it's like, okay, well, if you're funding all these classified things, how are we supposed to know what you're actually spending the money on if everything's classified? Like, oh, we can't talk about it. It's a classified operation. So, okay, so the classified operation used 500 million. What was it towards? Oh, we can't tell you. It's classified. That's the real problem with these agencies.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And what you just said about the blockchain is such a great point, because now you put the US on a Bitcoin standard as opposed to the gold standard. You start to back our spending with assets like Bitcoin. Exactly. Now, hey, Pentagon, hey, CIA, hey, FBI, whoever, we got a solution for you guys. Now you guys will never fail an audit, because every single transaction that you make needs to be made on a blockchain. You can't lose it then. The blockchain's forever.
They won't ever do that. They'll hate that.
Hate that. Oh, because all of a sudden now we can track what the fuck you're doing. So it's the perfect solution. It is. I mean, cryptocurrency is just such a fantastic technology. For those of you who understand what the actual technology is behind it, you realize how genius it is and how it fixes so many problems. It's just you got to get past the adoption phase. It's just inevitable. But that's such a great point. You'll see every single last transaction. You can't lose that. That's not an audit you can fail. I'll just go right down to I'll go right to your fucking wallet, and I'm gonna take a look at all those transactions. Say, all right, where'd that 2 billion go? Oh, to this wallet. Whose wallet is that?
Yeah, and the downside, as some people say, is like, okay, remember you used to be able to go to a convenience store and just pay $5 bill cash for things and get it, and nobody ever knew you were there. Vice versa, you kind of lose that aspect of things because your wallet is in this public forum in the ledger. No one knows specifically who it is per se. Like, they don't know it's your wallet unless they do some like FBI level investigating of where it came from, right? So that's one drawback I would say for just like normal transactions. Like if you just want to go to the store and say you're buying like I don't know porn or something like on Pornhub, like you're buying a subscription, right? So people are like, oh, well, he bought that. It's like, so it's maybe that's one downside, so
Right.
something like that. But for the general good of finance in like SEC regulations, companies making sure they hit their like you said, making sure they're passing their audits and the government spending, everything like that. It's terrific. One slight downside, I think you lose that cash element of things or that anonymous of like, hey, Prama, here's $100 bill, right? And then me and that transaction happened between us without anybody else knowing. But in the end of the day, there's no privacy anymore anyway, so it doesn't matter. Everything people do is online. All your bank statements, everything. Every time you swipe your card, it's out there anyway. So I think cash is out the door anyways, per se, so it doesn't really matter.
I agree with you. That's true. Yeah, you do lose the entire privacy of cash. Cash is still going to always be the most private. Just like you
Hmm.
said, there's not only, it's anonymous in terms of the person who spent it, but it's also anonymous the transaction. On crypto, the transaction's it's not hidden. You see the transactions. So you still cash should still be a thing. And this is why governments and countries are trying to get rid of it as quickly as humanly possible, which again makes sense. Everything goes online eventually, digital eventually, but we should still always have a cash element to keep that anonymity to money. I agree. You should
Yeah.
be able to keep cash.
And a difference in cash between like in the bank and actually on hand. That's something that I think I'm going to start doing more is definitely keeping more cash on hand. Just because you never know too when the power grid goes out and it takes you a couple weeks to get back into your MetaMask, you're going to be without a couple money. So things like that could happen. Cash is still king as of now. So make sure to keep loading up on it.
I was talking to Logan about that because recently I had to go get my car fixed at an auto body shop, and so, bruv, to fix the front bumper on a light fender bender on the whip was 30 grand to bruv. Yeah, 30 G's. So now my insurance company, they paid for the whole entire thing. That's why you have insurance. They're probably gonna fucking kill me whenever I renew the policy here in March, so that'll be fun. But oh, they're gonna destroy me,
Oh yeah.
fuck me up. So, but I had to pay $1,000 deductible. So it was the first time I had gotten cash out in a while. So I go grab the rack and just carrying around the rack in my Dior bag. I'm like, I could get used to this. I should carry around cash more often. And so I told Logan, I said, I think I'm gonna start doing that. Carry around a couple racks, just just
Yeah,
for the
just an emergency
nose.
pot too. You never know when shit's gonna hit the fan, and you gotta go down to your local. What am I thinking of? What's the
Trader Joe's, the
yeah,
flea market.
yeah, the flea market and just buy some stuff. I was wait,
Yeah.
what was the store? The outdoor store? What's it called? Oh,
I don't know.
Bass Pro Shops and get it. I was just say go down to your local Bass Pro Shops and get a gun.
Yeah, go buy a rifle for 300 behind the counter. Yeah. So, okay, so we talked about the blockchain, we talked about Elon. Uh, the only other real point I would have with the crypto is it also involves AI, where if you're young and you're really trying to make it in this world, you got to look for emerging industries that are going to lead the world in the next 10 to 15 years, right? It's going to be difficult for you to get a large shareholder, a large portion of a market that's been established for hundreds and hundreds of years. That's not to say that there isn't money to be made in all realms. Of course, there's always ways to make money, but as a young individual that understands that AI, that understands that crypto is going to be the future for humanity, learn how to be effective and competent in those areas now so that when the rest of the world is playing catch up after deciding that they didn't want to learn it, they didn't want to adopt it, oh, it's stupid, it's not going to happen. If you take the time to adopt it now, when the rest of the world comes by and says, oh, well, I guess it's time for us to do it now, that's when you're going to make all the money. Okay. That's exactly what's happening with crypto. The people who've been in crypto for the last 10 years have gotten filthy rich, who've understood what it is, how to make money in it, learned it, etc. The people that are making money with crypto right now, in 5 years, you're going to see, oh, wow, now the whole world is on this shit. I'm filthy fucking rich because I adopted it a little bit faster than everybody else. as a young man, as somebody who's trying to make it in this world, you got to look for those emerging industries and know and learn how to use it better before everybody else tries to start to use it.
I agree 100%. And I was actually just starting to look at some startup companies on this one website. They show startups, and I was looking at crypto startups and blockchain startups. And a lot of them is the exchanges like we see, the Radiums, the Jupiters, things like that. But there's kind of a new emerging aspect, like you said, with AI, that's going to be able to, AI is going to be able to analyze these blockchain transactions, like we said, and be used for different things. You know, you could let your imagination go wild. Because it's more of a data analysis tool, right? AI is great at data analysis. So if you give an AI a whole ledger of different things that you spent money on and let it graph it, let it, put it in a point graph or however you want to do it, you want to visualize it, the AI is great at that. So I think companies are going to start adopting that AI and blockchain technology and combine it into one, and they're going to be able to see physically with their eyes what they're spending their money on by the power of AI. So there's so many different things being built. It's all coming in the future. So there's
Just to give
there's a lot going on.
just to give them one example on how you can use AI just in crypto, somebody I know showed me this. There's so many different startups and blockchains and cryptocurrencies that get launched all the time. And a big thing in crypto is trying to find out what is the best way to get returns on the money that you already have. How do I generate a yield on the crypto that I have? So whether it's through staking, providing liquidity to liquidity pools, bunch of different ways you can make money in crypto. Somebody used AI to download the white paper, and the white paper is basically how the protocol works, what their plans are, how you can make money on them, etc. It's basically like it's basically the blueprint on how the blockchain works. So every crypto has a white paper. They'll just take that white paper, download it, or copy and paste it right into Chat GPT and say, Chat GPT, give me a quick summary of this white paper. And then boom, Chat GPT, like you said, will analyze all the information instantly without you having to sit there and read through 200 pages of fucking information and code. Give you the spit out the summary, and look, this protocol offers me this, this, and this. That's probably a good idea. Let me look further into this. And it just makes your data analysis a lot faster. So you can use ChatGPT and these other AI sources just to process information for you quicker in a way that's going to be digestible to you, so that you can make decisions a lot faster and be more competitive, as opposed to normally somebody would have to sit there if they want to try to find all the opportunity in crypto. They would have to download the white paper and they would have to spend 2-3 hours reading it, understanding it, looking at the code. Does this make sense? No. Now copy paste Chat GPT. All right, what's going on here? Boom, 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 boom. 10 minutes later, you got everything you need to know about that project.
Yeah, so I guess one of my final points here is you're somebody new watching this, right? And you want to get involved. You want to start a business around blockchain technology, AI, and you're like, well, I don't know how to build AI. I don't know how to build blockchain technology. I'm not a computer engineer. I'm not a developer, right? We don't have to be, right? A lot of these companies have built great technologies already. And how I like to think about it is thinking about companies like other software companies, social media companies like Facebook, like Instagram. It's like you're not going to be able to build the next Facebook. You're not going to be able to build the next Instagram, right? These are super in-depth computer engineers building this stuff with pages and pages of code, right? But you could use these technologies, like people make money on the Facebook marketplace every day. Influencers make money on Instagram every single day. So you just have to find a way that you can provide services to clients, maybe using blockchain technology, using AI. So finding ways to use these technologies in a business setting that's going to help clients that you're going out and attracting in a sales environment, and then you're bringing them in and say, hey, this is what I could do for you with AI. This is what I could do for you from a blockchain technology, like we talked about with supply chain. Or maybe it's a small business that wants to keep better records of their finances, right? So there's all different things you could do to start a business in AI or blockchain or crypto, right? But you just got to kind of think outside the box, because like Priyama said, this is the adoption phase. This is everybody's just trying to get involved now and trying to figure out exactly what this is, right? Because even we're in this like every single day, and even we don't even have the best understanding of what happens sometimes. So it's a continuing door of education and figuring out how you could use this stuff to your advantage.
And this is why people join the Taylor's Code. This is why our network is growing so quickly. We're almost at 400 people inside now. is because, like I just said, like Bobby was just talking about, if you adopt something early and you become competent and understand how to make money and be able to provide value, because so few people do it, there's now so much opportunity and so much demand for our knowledge, for our intelligence, our expertise, that we're going to make a ton of money off of it. And rightfully so, because we're the ones who have the information. As opposed to going into a market that's already diluted and you have millions and millions and millions of competitors. Everybody already knows what's going on. Everybody already knows all the tactics, how to make money, etc. It becomes so much more difficult to differentiate yourself from any other business in order to get a share of that marketplace. In crypto, how many people really are in crypto and understand how it works? Nobody, almost nobody.
And that's a good selling tactic. Like you said, you're in sales. You talk to people every day about getting a product. When people hear something that they never heard of, it kind of entices them a little more. Like, oh, I know, I never heard of that. I don't know exactly what that is. And then you give them the quick spiel about just quick education on it and how it could help them. And then they really think about something that's new, something that's fresh, right? If they hear the same old thing, it's like, oh, I have this, it's called Squarespace, and you could use it uses credit cards, whatever it is, Squarespace or something like that. But blockchain technology, it's like, oh wow, I never heard of that. That must be new. It gives you that competitive edge.
Yes, absolutely. You have the mystery of it, and then the demand for your services are so much higher because there's so few people providing the expertise that you can provide. Supply and demand, baby. If there's small supply but there's high demand, you're gonna make a fuck ton of money. And that's exactly what we're doing, and that's what we're showing the guys inside the Taylor's Code how to do is make a shit ton of money right now because we're doing things that most people aren't doing. That's who you want to be. You want to be in the cutting edge industries and you want to be leaders in those industries. It'll fare you well in 5 to 10 years. You might not see it now, but 1% of the world's wealth is in crypto right now. You don't think that's not going to go up to 5%, 10% in the next 10 years? You're not going to think it's going to go up to 15%. Like it's going to.
Michael Saylor's projection is 17% by 2030.
There you go. There it is right there.
That's Michael Saylor. Right. He's been saying it since Bitcoin was $500. He's been buying Bitcoin.
Early adopters will be the ones who get rich. This is how it always works. You got to want it when nobody else wants it. Once everybody wants it, it's too late. It's too late, player.
And I think these next 4 years are going to be some of the most prosperous in American history and the world history. So if you are adopting now, you're learning now, you're understanding these markets and you're understanding these technologies, it's going to make you better over the next 4 years. So make sure to keep grinding, though. Keep grinding, keep working at it. Because once you let it slip away, someone is coming in right behind you to fill your spot and then take that cash from you. So keep grinding. Don't let anybody pass you.
No, not a fucking chance. We're gonna win, player, and everybody inside of organization's fucking winning. That's what we do. We fucking win. So you can either compete with us or you can join the team. It's up to you. So outside of that,
I'm all good.
That's a banger. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know the deal. Links in the description. We'll see you inside of the Taylor's Code. Get inside of the private crypto plays in the classroom in the Taylor's Code to join our private group chats, private trading organization. Do that stuff. If you want to get with Bobby to learn e-commerce and build e-commerce stores, do that. If you want to learn sales and you want to get a sales position, you want to get into the sales industry, get placed with a company that's going to show you how to make money, I will do that for you. Okay? Whatever you need, whatever you want to be able to make money, do it now. Start making an income so you can start getting your money into the markets and start getting some return on your investment. But yeah, outside of that, I'm ready to rock, player.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. See you next week.
Boom.